Hey, everybody, glad to be with you again. And today's topic is turning your knowledge into multiple streams of income. This sounds like a pretty important and interesting topic, David, that maybe other people haven't thought a lot about.
Well, it's certainly something that they should be thinking about
Yeah,
because it really is an amazing topic when you really spend some time thinking about it.
yeah,
Because we, as a civilization, have gone through many phases. Like we've gone through the industrial age and different, all these different ages, and we are firmly in the knowledge age right now, the
right.
information age, where information is power and
Yeah,
information is key. And we live in the world where if you have knowledge about certain things, there is amazing things that you can do with that knowledge,
yeah,
things that you can just create, things that you can do, things that you can build and make, and so forth. And knowledge is really the center point of our economy anymore.
yeah,
And so what people don't always appreciate is how easily they can truly monetize their knowledge and expertise, because people always tend to discount like what they know. Like,
right.
well, I know how to do this, this, and this. And you just think, well, everybody knows how to do that. And
Yeah,
I can assure you, you would be wrong. Like, that is not how it works, because you and maybe people like you who are really good at your craft or whatever it is that like, this is secondhand nature to you. Like, you
right.
know how to do these things. But, for example, if you've ever had something break on your refrigerator,
Hmm.
and for somebody who works on appliances, like, yeah, do this, this, and this. Like, we had something on our dishwasher here a while ago, and like the door all of a sudden started slamming and falling. Like it was like you open the door and all of a sudden, you know how it doesn't go down slow, it just all of a
Right.
sudden slams down. And I'm sitting there going, okay. And my family was like, well, we got to call a repairman. And I'm like, I don't think we do. I think I've had this before. And the guy who came out and fixed it the last time said like, this is not hard. And so, I was able to learn from his knowledge, and I was able to figure out, oh, it's just a string. There's just a
Mm.
string in there that I got to pull it out, replace the string, and we're done.
Yeah,
But that knowledge is so valuable.
yeah.
That knowledge right there saved me probably $200
Well,
because
well, and it's funny you bring that up because a couple of things are coming to my mind when you're talking about this. One is the story of the guy. It's probably been told thousands of times now, but the guy that was called in to fix a big machine in a factory, and he spent like 10 minutes assessing it, and then he took his hammer and tapped on something, and it started working again, and sent the $1,000 bill or $10,000 bill, and they're like, "This is outrageous," and he broke it down, and it was like $10 for the hammer, 9,990 for knowing where to hit.
right, not all the years of experience.
Right.
You think about it, the guy who was charging me, essentially the door, because there's a string that's on a little pulley in your dishwasher, which allows the door to fall slowly.
Yeah.
So it doesn't just slam down all the way down and break, like almost break things.
Yeah.
There's a little pulley in there. Well, I fixed it for like less than $10.
Right.
I bought the little kit, fixed it for less than $10. If I had hired somebody, that would have been over $200. What's the difference? That guy knew how to fix it.
Right.
And the first time many years ago when I was like, I don't know what happened. And I didn't have any idea. I had no knowledge.
Yeah. Well, how long would it have taken you, and how much
Right.
damage would you have done trying to figure it out?
Well, and I had no knowledge as to what went wrong.
Right.
I'm like, as far as I knew, it was some complex thing.
Right.
And this guy was going to charge me $200 to drive out to my house, put a $5 part in, and
Yep.
leave. And that's essentially how it was going to work. And the only difference was he had the knowledge and I didn't.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I was going to say I had a similar recently. Like the van door on our van was it would like almost shut and it would kick back. It wouldn't close, and I thought I actually ordered the part thinking I would try to fix this with a friend of mine, like because it was kind of a pulley situation, right? That I thought. Well, I ended up going to my mechanic for some other, like an oil change and some work. And I said, could you check this out? Because I'm not sure what it is. And I was afraid it was going to cost a lot of money. And he's like, no, there's no charge. It was like the rollers and the sensors were offset a little bit. Like, but that knowledge, I was looking on YouTube initially, like, I'm going to take the door off. I'm going to do all these things. If I was going to do this myself, it's going to take days and I'm probably going to screw it up. And I was all, but that mechanic was like, no, these things happen. It's like, it just got it just kind of offset, and it's worked fine ever since. But that knowledge, saved me hundreds of dollars, and who knows how many countless hours and the damage I could have done with a a weekend mechanic friend of mine, kind of a thing.
Right.
So you're right. I mean, knowledge, it's interesting because you bring that up. It's, paying for expertise now is so critical for organizations, and the smartest people, honestly, and the most successful people are willing to pay the price for an expert because they value their time, so that, and more than the money that they may pay that expert to actually solve a problem.
Right. And this is the thing you have to understand, is that this is the key to being successful in business. Anybody who, like, let's be honest, like the people who are billionaires knew how to create a business, or they knew how to set things up in such a way to create a system of cash flow that made them incredibly rich.
Yeah.
It was knowledge. Knowledge was the key that separated them from the other people. Knowledge was the key that allowed them to open doors that were closed to other people.
Mm-hmm.
Knowledge was the thing that gave them opportunities. And every one of us has knowledge in areas of life.
Yeah.
Every one of us, especially once we've been out in the work world for a while, we've got knowledge. We've learned things. You're out of college and now you're working in whatever career that you've decided to work in for a while. Mm-hmm. You've got knowledge that you can go, okay, now, especially after you've been at it for a few years, I now know these things. Mm-hmm. I know how to do this, and this, and I'm now pretty fluent in these skills. I know how to handle all these things. And what most of us don't realize, and what we're not recognizing, is that you can take that knowledge and turn it into multiple streams of income. Mm-hmm. And, let's just to really do the first obvious one is a lot of times, like, it's like a coaching opportunity. Mm-hmm. Like, that's one of the most obvious ones, is like a lot of times there are people in life, or you're just coaching or working with someone directly one-on-one.
Yeah.
Like somebody's like, I have this problem. I don't know how to fix it. You know how to fix it. Mm-hmm. Can you help me?
Right.
If I paid you, would you help me fix it? Okay. Like, because you have the knowledge, you have the understanding on how these things work and what needs to happen, you can go in and solve it for them. And this is where, like, coaching is such an incredibly powerful opportunity, because, especially for more complex problems in life, you can sit there and you can be like, okay, I know how to do this. I've now been successful doing these things.
Right.
Well, can you show me? Can you walk with me? Can I pay you to guide me and to coach me through this process? Sure. Like, I go to the gym, as you know, and I pay for a trainer. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is very simple, is like, my results go up exponentially having someone that actually knows what they're doing,
right?
Who's an expert in fitness, who knows their stuff, and is like, nope, we're going to do it. Like, not today's, like looking at you like, we're not going to do this today. We're going to do that instead.
Yeah.
And because they're reading you and they know, they're watching your movements and seeing how you're progressing, like going, they know when to push you. Like yesterday, mm-hmm. my trainer was like, oh, like, we're going to, like, all of a sudden he was like, what's your max weight on doing a squat? And I told him, and he was like, all right. And I go,
that was your former max weight.
Right, like, what you just put on is more than my max weight. He goes, I know. And he goes, do 1 to 3. I'm like going, no, wait, my max weight before was 1. Now you're wanting 1 to 3? He goes, yep. And he didn't let me off until I did 3.
Yeah.
So I had a higher, but he knew, because he knows, and he's watching me going, this is going really good today. You're really doing well. So I know I can push you today, because he's got so much experience that he knows that he can push the envelope a little
bit.
So things. You can help people. You can push people beyond where they would get on their own, mm-hmm. by being really good at it, by being a coach, by being a trainer, by being someone that is a guide. And people will pay you for that help, because they want that result too. They've seen you get the result. They're like, well, I want that result. I want those things in my own life. And so you can put yourself out there to get hired for that. And then from there, let's say you're like, well, this is great, but I can only have time to do so many people one-on-one. It's obviously mm-hmm. time consuming, right? Is working with people individually is time consuming. It's rewarding. It's extremely rewarding, and it's extremely powerful and valuable. But You're like,
only so much
hey,
time in a day, right?
I can only get to so many people at once, and my income is really capped. I can only get to this many number of people when I'm working with them one at a time. So let's say, hey, okay, what if I did this in a group? What if I got a small group of people together and trained them all together and showed them all together how to do these things? Or maybe, I create a membership community where people just are part of this community and they pay me every month to be part of this community. And I'm teaching and showing and working with them and doing this, but it's less individualized. Well, now how many people can you serve in a group or in a membership?
Yeah.
That number is a significantly higher number.
Right.
And so your income potential now just shot way higher.
Right.
Instead of only doing one-on-ones, then you could still do a few one-on-ones if you want, but now you can also add groups and memberships to it where you're working with larger numbers who are paying you less money. So they're actually happy because they're like,
right. It's a win-win, right? Because you can grow your income while they actually feel like they're paying a reasonable fee that they can handle personally.
Right. And then from there, you can like, okay, well, maybe some people don't even want to do that. But what if I put it in a course? What if I taught what I knew in a course? And you could just pay a one-time fee for a course, and you could just go through the course on your own, in your own speed, in your own time, in your own pace. And you could do that. Or I could write an ebook, or I could put templates out there and sell those, or guides of different things. These are all different ways. You can put it in different formats, because the thing is, not everybody likes to learn the same way. Not everybody's ready to, like, I've had times, like I was with my life coach for a number of years ago. I had him for like 8 years, and he was a massive help to me in my life. But leading up to that, I had bought that organization's books. I had bought their courses. I had bought through all of these different programs before I ever hired a coach one-on-one.
Right.
Because I wasn't at that stage. I had to hire a one-on-one coach for a long time.
Yeah.
I was at the stage where I'll read the books. Okay. Yeah. And I got a lot of value and a lot of help out of those books. That was really, really powerful. And then I started going through their courses. And then I started going to events. And then I'm like, so you
progressive, right?
You progressively work in there. And so offering these different products and different services allows you to make more money, and it allows more people to engage with you. And especially when you do things like products, like courses and things like that, you don't have to put, once it's created, you can sell it as many times as you want. The ceiling on that is unlimited.
Yeah. Well, I think too, it's, in essence, it's creating your menu of services or products, right? Your knowledge, because like you said, different people have different appetites. Using that analogy, it's like, some people are going to say, you know what, if I don't know this person yet, I want to kind of test the waters by reading their book or listening to the podcast. Even sometimes it's the free thing, right, that gets them started. And then you're like, hey, I think this person has something to share. Actually, there's a recent consultant that's been at it for like 40 years that I had never heard of. And I saw some videos of his on LinkedIn, like 1 or 2 minute videos. I thought, you know what, he's got some interesting thoughts. And I realized he had written a bunch of books. So I bought his one book that I saw him promoting. And then I think I bought 2 or 3 of his books now in the last, let's say, 6 months. And I'm like, you know what, I'm kind of, learning. I'm definitely learning from him, but I've kind of eased myself into his world, so to speak. But he's got high end, programs and things that you can do. But I'm like, without understanding his philosophy, his expertise, his, where he's come from, there was no way I would, and I'm still not at that point where I'm like ready to join his higher end things. And I probably never will, honestly, based on where I am and what he does. But a lot of what he's said in his books and in his videos has been helpful to me. Right. So people are going to be at different things. Whereas there's other times where I've jumped into the deep end because I heard somebody, or read their, and I'm like, you know what, I really need to be a part of that because I trust their authority and their expertise. And so I really like what you're saying here, because I think it's really important that, I think a lot of times as we start out in business, we think, well, I'm going to be a coach. Right. And the only thing I'm going to offer is coaching.
Right.
Well, that only goes so far, because you're going to get some coaching clients, but there's also a lot of people who aren't ready for that step. And so, I had to actually, come to reality, I guess I'll say that, I never really intended to go out and be a speaker, but people have paid me a lot more to speak before they ever paid me to coach or to join a program, because that was an easy first step for them to bring me in and speak to their audience or to their team or whatever. Then after that, once they feel like, okay, this person has something of value to share, then we can have a conversation about a higher end offer or longer term, engagement. It's just like you said, it's a process, it's progression, and it's testing our knowledge.
I agree. And so I look at all of this and I'm just like, look, you need to have those options on the table. It'll if you really want to have a business around your knowledge, you need to have some options on the menu. It's otherwise it's like going to a restaurant and you open the menu and there's like one item on there.
Take it or leave it.
Do you want soup or do you want soup? Like, okay, I guess I'll have the soup. Like it's not, and it's the same thing with people, how they want to engage with you. And it's not only that, it's like, why are multiple streams of income important for you? It's because different things have seasonality. And I know, like, when our last business, when we started our author coaching program, we were one of the first ones out there to offer anything like what we did.
Right.
But by the time that things were winding down, there were many competitors. There were many other businesses out there offering author coaching services similar to what we were offering. So the landscape had changed significantly. And not everybody's, so different things are going to have expiration dates. Almost like certain businesses will eventually become, obsolete. You see, especially with technology-based products, like no one's buying
BlackBerry.
Right. No one's buying Blackberries anymore. There was a time where that was the hottest thing in town.
Absolutely.
That thing was on fire. And now I think the technology still exists out there somewhere.
Yeah, somebody I think bought them up and they're using the technology in various ways.
Right, but as a product, it's goner. It's dead and gone. It no longer works. But having multiple streams of income protects you.
Right.
Having multiple ways that you can sell your knowledge and expertise protects you, because if one way suddenly starts, that stream starts becoming very difficult, because maybe, like I said, other people figured out, wow, that service that they're offering, we could do that.
Right.
We could also offer that service. And now all of a sudden you have 10 competitors out there who are undercutting you in price, or who are trying to, sell you all the time, or making things difficult for you. But having different menu items on there gives you multiple ways to create income. So that, like, I have one strong income stream. It's like having a job, right? You go to work for this company. That's your total source of income. All of a sudden, the company announces one day, we're going through layoffs, and I'm sorry, but your job is no longer, your job's gone.
Yeah.
Well, this is the same problem, as your whole income was based on one stream.
Yeah.
All of your income. And now that stream is gone, you're all of a sudden in scramble mode, because you're like, oh crap.
Well, I've heard, I heard a while back, but Dan Kennedy used to say one is the most dangerous number in business.
Right.
Because of that, whether it's one product or one employee or one of anything, he said, whenever you're, you just have that one thing. And there's actually a gentleman I knew years ago, where I used to live in Atlanta, and he had lost his job, like you just mentioned. And when he told me one day, he said, I will never have just one job again. He was a guy who wanted to have multiple streams of income, because he had gone through that, and how painful it was for him and his family to go through the job loss and job search process. And so for him, he found ways to, have different sources of income beyond that one. And I remember it was like, he said it as a joke, like he wasn't joking, because he obviously was doing it, but it was kind of a funny, humorous thing for me at the time, because I didn't understand this concept as much. But now looking back and what you're saying today, like, yeah, I mean, he was actually really smart, and most people are not putting themselves in that position to kind of have that safety net.
Right.
They're putting all their eggs in one basket, and as entrepreneurs, the market changed. I mean, think about COVID, David. I mean, if you didn't have options and you only did in-person consulting and coaching on site somewhere, and COVID hits, and now you can't do it. I mean, I know your wife, they were in the, that event space industry, right? Like I had a good friend of mine who was an executive in the trade show industry, gone, right, in an instant.
Right.
And so to have multiple options and how to pivot is huge. I mean, it was funny because back then, right, we were using Zoom, but I didn't realize how many people weren't using Zoom
Right.
until COVID hit, because then all of a sudden people were like, I don't know how to do all this. And I'm like, really? I'm like, we've been using Zoom for like 2 or 3 years or more.
Right.
But now all of a sudden I went from coaching in person to coaching on the phone or coaching on Zoom,
Right.
and adjusting with people. And it helped sustain things in that very disruptive, time. But yeah, having options is huge.
Well, and again, if you don't have that, if you don't have pieces in place, you're having only one source of income through your business is just like having a job.
Mm-hmm.
And if something comes along to disrupt that one source of income,
yeah,
uh-oh.
And that can be one customer, right? I mean, to kind of make sure this is clear, because when you go back to the coaching one-on-one versus a group coaching program or a membership community, if you have one coaching client and they're paying you really well, that can be great until it's not, right? Until it's over. You could have one, if you have a group of 5 or 10 people, somebody has to drop out.
Right.
The impact isn't as great. You have a membership community of dozens or hundreds of people that are paying a monthly fee. Now, once again, it's that impact is lessened the more you have it built into your process. So I think, I'm hoping that people listening today will just maybe have some creative thoughts on maybe what this looks like. But I think a lot of people just go into this all or nothing, and we need to kind of expand your thinking today, I think, on this.
I agree. And again, if you're in the training space, for example, and you get one big client who pays you a lot of money and your whole income stream is coming from this one company that's paying you to go and do training and coaching and workshops and different things. And then all of a sudden one day they look at you and go, yeah, we don't have this in the budget for next year.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden you went, what?
Yeah.
My whole livelihood was coming from working from this company.
Yep.
And now it's gone. And so having that in there will keep you from being like so vulnerable. And
yeah, when COVID hit, I mean, I experienced that because I was working at that time with 2 different organizations, like you're talking about, and one basically, quote unquote, paused the contract mid-year because of COVID.
Right.
It really ended the contract because it never restarted.
Right.
And I knew that was probably the possibility of it. I'd been working with them 2 or 3 years at that time. But the other one, they were like, we want to keep moving forward, but we had to switch to phone and Zoom, engagement because of the way things were. But you're right. It's, I remember when I first started my business, I heard somebody talk about this. He said, I had a great big corporate contract, but I didn't do the work of adding new clients while I was working that contract. And so when that ended, I was starting from zero instantly. And so it's being smart about, kind of always filling that pipeline, always prospecting, always connecting, always selling what you have to offer. Because, if you can do that, even if you're in middle of a contract with a company or a person and as a coaching client, but now you're onboarding somebody else, you start to link these kind of like links in a chain.
I agree 100%. And that's just the thing that we all have to get through our heads is that, having an opportunity like that is amazing and it can change your life forever. Mm-hmm. If you get a really good contract with one of those companies, it can forever reshape the future of what your business is, because it can take you from like a level 2 business to a level 5 very quickly. And yet you have to always understand that you got to have, as fast as it came in is as fast as it could also go away. So having other options to alleviate that dependency is always a good idea.
Yeah. And I think too, I mean, it's, what I even discover is, even when you think about it from the corporate space, like if you're working with a company and you're doing training in that organization, but you also have books and other courses and other content, guess what? There are people that maybe the company has paid you to come speak and help their people on sales or leadership or whatever, but those people become prospects within the group. I had this happen with a current client where, I'm doing leadership training program with a company. and I send out couple weekly emails that group is on. And one day I got a notification that somebody in that group had bought a course that was completely unrelated to what we were talking about. It's the course for my first book. But it was through that ongoing relationship. And, she liked what I had to say about one lane, but she realized I had other, content with my other book and course and programs. So that was a sale that I was really unexpected, because that wasn't the focus of what I was doing with them. But at the same time, building that credibility, people start to look at you and go, well, what else do you have? Right. Like, my company may be paying for me to go through this, but they start to look into you, and if they trust you and they connect with you, they're going to look for what other resources do you have? And do you have books? Do you have courses? Do you have other coaching programs that might be relevant to my life? And that was really eye-opening to me, and just kind of accentuating what we're talking about today.
100%. And everybody's in different places. Everybody's at different levels. We've talked about this, like maybe someone will come to you and talk to you like, well, I'm interested in learning about one-on-one coaching. And then they understand one-on-one coaching isn't free. You have to pay for one-on-one coaching because, I need to be able to eat and put gas in the car too. I can't be sitting here all day dealing with your problems for free. So there is a fee for that. Well, I can't afford that. Okay, well, I do have a course that you can go through. I do have this ebook. I do have a book that I read, whatever it may be. Here, maybe, and you can still get paid something for that.
Right.
And we've had many times where people were not able to afford going through our author coaching program, so they went through a course instead.
Yeah,
they spent a couple $100 on a course instead of going through and spending all the money on the coaching.
Right.
They would go through and like, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to, I can afford a course that'll get me down the path. Like, okay, great, here you go. And that was a couple $100, and that was a way cheaper option for them. And great.
Well, and here's the thing about that too, right? And this is something we even offer with Design, Launch, Grow, is maybe people say, I just want the content. I don't want or can't afford or need right now the individual attention of coaching. Right. Well, guess what? The content, the course component is a part of the coaching package, right? It's the coaching and the course. But if somebody says, I just really right now, I think I just want to kind of ease in or try out the course content, that was a very interesting thing for me too, David, was, I have my own membership for leadership coaching. Right. But I also have a course, but the course is the core content for the membership program, but it's independent as well. So if somebody just wants the course, they can buy that. If they want the additional coaching and the community aspect of being around other leaders, they can pay to be a part of that on a month-to-month basis, which they ultimately pay more of. They get the course, and that they pay more for the course over the course of a year. But they get more for that too, by being in the community, by getting the coaching calls. So it's actually a better sale on my end, right? Over the course of a 12 months.
That's no extra work for you whatsoever once the course is created.
Right.
You can sell a course over and over and over again. It's all passive income at that point.
Right. I mean, you've got your book Funnel in a Box, training. That's a great course on how do I sell books and how do I then sell other things that we're talking about. It's how do I tier a book to a course to coaching. That's a great product. And so folks, if you're an author and you need help, like how do I do this? Well, go to bookfunnelinabox.com, and I'll shamelessly plug David's course here. But I've been through it. I've done it. It's great. Right. And I think that it's just a good example, right, of how you can take something and turn it into multiple things.
Correct. So as you're doing all that, just remember that every single one of these products that you're going to offer requires a different type of a sales process. Mm-hmm. Like if you're going to offer one-on-one coaching or higher ticket items, like how do I get those? Well, that's going to be a longer sales process, and they're going to probably want to talk to you. So which means you're going to have to do like your marketing, which is going to educate them on the value that you bring and how you can solve their problem and how you can help them. And then you're probably going to have a discovery call or a sales call where you just meet with them and you talk to them and be like, okay, this is what it would look like. What are your questions and concerns? What are your goals? What are your fears? And, is this a right fit for you? Because this is what it looks like. This is how much it costs. This is how it's structured and works. And how would this work for you? And so you have to have more of a higher touch sales process for like things like that. And plus, you as a coach don't want to take on clients that may not be a good fit.
Right.
We've all done that. We've all thought, well, I think this person will be okay. And I take them on as a coaching client. And then 6 weeks later, you're going, why? Why did I do this? This is not a good fit for me.
Yeah.
I am not the person that they should be working with this. And now you're sitting there, your brain's going, how do I unwind this? Because I shouldn't be here working with this person because it's just not the right fit. I shouldn't be their coach.
Well, I even had that recently. There's a dad that I know in the community. He said, hey, would you be willing to do some life coaching with my son? And I was like, I had this scenario years before. And I told him, I said, well, let me meet with them and see if it's something that he really wants to do. And I was even actually, one of my questions, does he want this or do you want this?
Right.
And that was my first thing. But he's like, no, I think he's interested. And after talking to him, and we sat down, this younger guy and I, but after talking to him, after, 45 minutes or so, I was like, I don't think that really there's anything I can do for you to help you. I mean, he was in a different place than I expected him to be, a better place. And I was like, I don't really know that you need my help, honestly, right now. I think you've got clarity on some things. I said, if we need to talk later, we can. But to your point, but that was my thing is, I'm like, I had said yes years ago to a bigger, 12-month, twice a month, coaching engagement with a young guy that had no motivation. And within 3 months, I was like, we need to stop this. And I had to, I lost the income from it, but I was like, I can't continue this for myself. It's not right for him.
100%.
But like you said, unwinding that was not an easy thing to do.
Right. But that's why you need a more extensive sales process. It's for those types of sales, for those types of clients. You need to know, A, can they afford it? And B, is this the right fit?
Right.
Is this going to be a good working relationship? Because if it is, it's amazing.
Right.
Let's just be honest. We've all had good coaching clients who we worked with them and it was just as rewarding for us as it was for them.
Sure.
Because we're just like, wow, this is incredible. This is amazing. I love it. This is exactly what I want. I feel so.
Yeah, if I could have 100 of these clients, I'd be loving life.
Exactly. If I had clients like this all day, I would just be as happy as I could be. And so you want to do that. Now, if you want to sell ebooks, you want to sell courses, or even smaller level courses, if you want to sell lower ticket items, you don't need to go through all this.
Right.
You can just create a simple sales page that talks about, here's what it is. Here's what it's about. This is what it can do for you. Here's the buy button. And it's a very simple step-by-step thing that you can do. If it's a higher ticket course, you probably need like a short training or some type of a training, a webinar that you can record and people can watch that and they can learn about it and they can learn about all the different things that you can do for them, because it's not a $50 purchase. It's like a few $100 purchase.
Right.
And so you need a longer sales process in there to like educate them, like, here's where the problem is, this is why the other options aren't going to work, this is how it will work, and this is how I can help you, and this course lays it all out for you, and this is how much it is. And so when you have all that, then they can watch that, learn about it, and go, oh, okay, that is something that I want, that is something that is of interest to me. Okay. And then you have the buy now button for them to join. So every lane has its own degree of complexity, I guess you'll say, in terms of how you sell it. But when you have those in place and you have different lanes and you can say, hey, I just need this. This is all I need. Okay, great. You're having a conversation with somebody. Yeah, I really don't need full one-on-one coaching. I just need help with this one thing. Great. I have a short course on that. It's $47. Here's a link. You can go get it and it'll show you exactly how to do that. And by having all these places ready to go, all you got to do is, hey, go to this link.
Yeah.
It'll do exactly what you're looking for. It'll solve your problem. It'll give you exactly the help you're wanting. And I don't even have to do anything else. Just go here, read this.
Well, and even when you say, David, like you could take a more complex full course and break it down into multiple parts and sell the part, maybe it's segments. And so somebody's not ready to buy the $2,000 advanced course, but they want to start, right? So maybe they'll pay $297 for the first piece. And then, so you could break it up into pieces that actually are, if they bought everything separately, it's more expensive than the whole course. So you can actually have, if they do that, but you're actually making more money. But at the same time, they may not say, I don't have $2,000 sitting here right now to do that, or I don't even know, that seems too advanced for me right now. I just want to start here.
Right.
So there's ways to even structure and break things in. You can basically have one product that turns into multiple products, of pieces of it.
And as you're working with somebody, if you have different lanes that you create content in, so it's not all just the same content in different lanes, you actually then start expanding into different areas. Like, not only can I help you with this, I can also help you with that, and then it's like you work with somebody and they went through your course or your coaching on this one topic, and then they realize you have a course, like you mentioned, on another topic that's related. And they go, well, I'd like to go through that as well. Now you have all these cross-selling opportunities where people are like learning, like, hey man, this is amazing, I want that as well. And that's where you have existing customers that start going, I went through all your stuff, it was incredible, but what else do you have? Because you helped me so much with your other one. Now I'd like to go through, do you have anything else? And that's where the cross-selling and the additional income opportunities really start going. And really, I guess I just will leave with everybody today is just that the opportunities are really only limited by you and your imagination. The number of things that you can do are really limitless. The number of ways that you can slice and dice things and put things in a different format and offer a new product or a new service based on different things, it's really endless of what you can do. It's only limited by your creativity and how much you're willing to work and put it together and put things out there. And you just have to execute on it then. And that's what we do. We help people put these things together and execute on all those things. So.
Well, I even had this happen here today. Somebody I met recently, she learned about my books and she bought an ebook, my audiobook rather, for my first book. And then I saw her like a week or two later and she's like, that was really good, but I'm going to buy the book now, because she wanted to have the actual physical book after listening to it while I think she was doing cleaning and stuff around her house. And she's like, I really like the book, but now I want the physical product. So now, because of one product, she bought two that were really the same thing, in different formats. But it just goes to show you how, people are willing to buy multiple formats of things. And once again, I have a course that goes into more depth and walks people through the process from that book at $197. Right. So if she wants to go deeper that way, or I can coach her on that content. So folks, this whole point, right? Like, this is what David's saying, is there's so many options, and these are just scratching the surface. And there's, like you said earlier, there's templates you can, sell. My wife is a teacher. There's a site that she's now selling some of her resources on that she's created that she uses as a teacher in her, classroom, but now other teachers are buying them, and she's bought them from other teachers for her classroom. And they're just digital downloads and products that, these teachers can use and, to teach their students. That's they have a professional job, a day job, so to speak, but now they've got a platform to sell what's been working for them to others for some extra income. It's the right now is the incredible time to live to sell our knowledge, right? Like you mentioned, we're in this knowledge age, and it's so valuable. And so if we can help you with that, check out designlaunchgrow.com. We can, once again, strategize with you, help you think about different ways to put yourself out there so that people can know what you offer, whether it's books, courses, coaching, workshops, seminars, whatever it may be. We really help you think through that path and have roadmaps to walk you through how to build those businesses with all the things you do have to offer. So we would love to help you if that's where you are and you're saying, you know what, I'm just not sure where to go next. Well, check out designlaunchgrow.com and we'll walk you through that. So otherwise, we will see you next time, and we hope you have a great day.